In the world of performance Subarus, you have the WRX, the WRX STI, and then above that, you have the S series of STIs. And in this case, it's the S206, 2012 model. Now, in the same way that the STI isn't just a sticker pack over the base model WRX, it has a lot of mechanical changes to make it a much better car, well, so does the S series over the normal STI. It's not just a sticker pack, there's a whole bunch of hardcore race upgrades to the car that makes it not only better on the road, but the track as well. So, let's take a look. So let's start under the hood. Now, most STIs after a certain new model were a 2.5 litre around the world, but most of them in Japan stayed 2 litre. Why? Well, they obviously preferred that engine. Most people say it's stronger, but you do get better RPM out of the thing. And when you combine it with equal length headers and a twin scroll turbocharger, you actually get a pretty awesome power plant. 235 kilowatts versus the normal 206 kilowatts. You can see the STI intercoolers on there with the 206 branding. You get your S206 limited edition build plate number of being one of 300 examples of this car, but the rest of it is all pretty straightforward STI. It has the STI 6-speed and obviously the center diff controller and LSDs front and rear, but they do have a recalibrated SI drive for the S206. So more power, bigger torque band, more RPM, and these things do sound quite different to normal WRXs. Now, one of the most hardcore parts of the S206 is the wheel and tyre package and the brakes. You can see here, big 6-piston Brembo brakes up front with floating 2-piece rotors, proper motorsport brake package here, 4-piston down the back, and then you have 19-inch lightweight BBS wheels. These things are pretty rad. Underneath, you've got inverted monotube Bilstein struts, you've got STI springs, STI spec sway bars, STI strut brace, and they also use pillow ball joints in some of the parts instead of rubber bushes. So underneath, it's a pretty hardcore thing that makes it better on track and on the street. Now, it wouldn't be an STI or an S series without a bunch of badges to show off what car you've got, which starts at the front. But visually, the front lip, you have the negative pressure ducts on the front wheel arches designed to get high pressure that builds up in the top of the wheel well to get out from under there and evacuate that. You get the silver S series mirrors like you do on all of them. Down the back, you have the boot lip spoiler, but there is a Nürburgring special of this car that actually comes with a carbon roof and a carbon wing as well. And there's even less of those, making them even more rare. Inside the S206, it continues the tradition of having Recaro seats and a different trim pattern to the other STIs. The rest of it though is pretty much as per STI, but overall pretty good place to be being in a later model S series. Like obviously the S206 is an upgrade from the previous models. We've driven the S204, you can go check out that video feature as well. The most important thing for us with these S series WRXs is, what does it drive like? Let's go find out. So I was super excited to get to drive the S206 because I really did get a massive surprise from the S204. And one of the things I love about these cars is this. 8,000 RPM redline. Oh, that is very, very addictive. 8,000 RPM is not something you normally associate with WRXs or even WRX STIs, but this 2-litre engine in this car is awesome. And here's the thing, it doesn't just rev harder than all the other WRXs and STIs, etc. It actually still has really good mid-range punch as well. So it hasn't lost that mid-range to get that top end. It's just got an awesome power band. This section of twisty road through here, you can do the whole thing in 3rd gear if you want, or you can drop back and have a little bit more RPM to play with. And I guess what I love about the S206 is the same thing I love about the S204. It fixes all of the things that car enthusiasts don't like about the WRX STI. Understeer is honestly, it's not there unless you're trying to make it happen and pushing way too hard. So Understeer is gone, turning is improved, braking is epic in this thing. It's essentially motorsport level brakes in this with a 2-piece floating rotor and a 6-piston caliper up front. You get lightweight racing wheels in it. Like, you get everything that a car enthusiast would want to do to a WRX or an STI is done to this car. Would you still modify? I mean, I would, but honestly, these things, they're like driving a really well modified car rather than driving, I guess, you know, a tuner car. These things are just so much fun. And on the flip side, you can still put it into intelligent mode and auto for the center diff and just drive it around normally. And it's still pretty good. As they get newer, I talk about how they're easier to drive fast so they don't feel as fast, but on the flip side, you are getting a more comfortable car to drive when you're not driving flat out. Because let's face it, these street cars, they're not driven at 100% all day, every day, are they? We probably 1% or less of the driving is flat out. The rest of it is just cruising around. So how much do you weight the performance of each? So I guess S204 versus S206, I think some of the rawness has been taken back. There's some more refinement, which makes it a better day-to-day road car. Maybe slightly less fun through a set of twisty roads, but honestly, just as fast and probably faster. But obviously you need the stopwatch, which STI already did with this car to prove that it, at the time, was the fastest car that had ever come out of STI's factory. So yeah, overall, 1 of 300 makes it highly collectible, and the build itself is a driver's car. I keep saying it with these S-Series WRXs, STIs, these things are a driver's car through and through. I'll say it again though, I just don't get sick of that 8,000 RPM